if you look in Scripture, you'll see that in the King James, you is always used for God. Right? Or when we read Shakespeare's plays, when talking to a king, it's always you. Right? But then let's say a conversation between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, right, his wife, they're going to use thou. That's just an interesting thing that not a lot of people think about. Because, I mean, English doesn't have formal and informal second person, pronouns of address anymore. But like Spanish has them, right? Usted and ustedes. One is formal, one is informal. And use language to indicate the type of social situation that we are in. Okay, sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. What's going on in this one? Christina?
Every view, like, she's so beautiful, like, it will sometimes.
Is he talking about her or is he talking about summer? In this one. So sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. What's the eye of heaven? The sun. Often is his gold complexion dim. Sometimes the sun's not shining. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. So we could say the gold complexion is dimmed, it's cloudy, or it is wintertime, nighttime. And so, right, nature's changing course. Things decline. Every fair from fair sometime decline. And so, all this, again, so we're continuing that theme of the first quatrain, where it's the nice things about summer do go away. Yeah.
I was just going to say, he's comparing it to how summer has to end, but then in the next quatrain at the beginning, he says, but thy eternal summer shall not fade.
Right, go ahead and read that quatrain for us, Carter.
But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag, thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest.
Very good. So this owest here, what letter is being left out? Help us understand. An E, maybe. An N. The fair thou ownest. The fair she owns. But we can just kick that out to make it rhyme. That's what we do. Shakespeare's allowed to do that. But thy eternal summer shall not fade. So, what do we have right here? Really? The volta. Right. So we're shifting, right? But thy eternal summer shall not fade. So now who is the object, right? So thy, second person pronoun. So who is being addressed? The girl. Your eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. So really the comparison to summer is not that appropriate, because summer goes away, all the fair decline, all the fair things decline, all this stuff. But her eternal summer shall not fade. It's just going to keep going. Nor shall death brag, thou wanderest in his shade. But he's acknowledging something in this line. What's he acknowledging? What?
She won't die.
No, that she will. That, yeah, not actually eternal, but death can't brag, because when in eternal lines to time thou growest. What are the lines? His poem. Oh, geez, another one of these guys. And so saying your eternal summer will not fade, and even if your physical body dies, you will still remain because you're in these eternal lines. And then we have the couplet, right? We're going to put a bow on it. so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so as long as people are around, so long lives this. What is the this referring to? The what? The lines, the poem, this poem. So long lives this. And this gives life to thee. So why is her eternal summer not going to fade? You wrote a really good poem about her, right? It is a good poem. Yeah.
Why are the last two lines like not in line with the other ones?
Because they're the couplet. It's just to set them off. Yeah. But this one's good. This is a good example of how couplets can be used, how couplets can be really effective. So you have the parallelism. You have the parallelism, right? So long as men, so long lives this. Right, so they both start with the same two words. So you have that parallelism, and you have the rhyme at the end, which is parallelism. And then so long as men can breathe or eyes can see. So you have, how many syllables is each of these words? Yep. So long lives this, and this gives life to thee. All one, right? So even there you don't have any multisyllabic words, they're all monosyllabic. And so that kind of reinforces that parallelism, right? You can really hear the meter in that. And so this is a very well-constructed couplet, as we can expect from Shakespeare. He writes very good couplets. Yeah, so we have this, again, this sentiment we saw from who? We read it last class. We saw the same sentiment. Yeah, from Spencer, right? Out of Amoretti 75. And this idea of, your beloved will live forever in your writing is really common. And it comes directly from the Italian poetry that the early English sonneteers were imitating. Very good. And then we have this one. Ryan, go ahead and stand up and read this for us.
Devouring time, blunt thou the.
Oh, come now. Project. Project. Louder. Pull the mask down. There you go.
Devouring time, blunt though the lion's paws, and make the earth devour her own sweet brood. Pluck the keen teeth from the fierce tiger's jaws, and burn the long-lived phoenix in her blood. Make glad and sorry seasons as thou fleets, and do
Whate'er
thou wilt. Swift-footed time, the wide world, and all her fading sweets. But I forbid thee one more heinous crime. O carve not with the hours my love's fair brow, nor draw no lines there with thine antique pen. Him in thy course untainted do allow, for beauty's pattern to succeeding men. Yet do thy worst, old time. Despite thy wrong, my love shall in my verse ever live young.
All right, very good. So again, English sonnet. Who is being addressed here? Time. And not just time, but what aspect of time? Devouring time. Right? The time that takes things away, right? Even you have that proverb of the king goes to the wise man and asks what to carve on the side of the mountain. The wise man says, "This too shall pass." Right? That idea of how time wears all things down. Devouring time, blunt thou the lion's paws, and make the earth devour her own sweet brood. Pluck the keen teeth from the fierce tiger's jaws, and burn the long-lived phoenix in her blood. What's going on here? I mean, the tone of this is much different, right? It's much darker. Really?
Is he saying that time does all those things to, like, takes the teeth from the tiger and makes the lion's paws?
Yeah. So if we think the lion and the tiger, right, they're fierce. They're apex predators in their environment. Right? We're scared of them in a lot of ways, right? They can come and get you. But what can defeat them? Time. Make the earth devour her own sweet brood. Right? Dead and buried. Put away. And burn the long-lived phoenix in her blood. So Phoenix, House Phoenix. Who's in House Phoenix? House Phoenix. So Jacob, what's special about Phoenix? Phoenixi? Phoenixy? Phoenixium?
Whatever the plural phoenix is, they'll randomly bust all of the and just be gone.
Right, so the phoenix as a symbolic mythological animal, right, is cyclical but also rebirth. Right? Phoenix, the end of its life, bursts into flame, and then out of the ashes comes another little baby phoenix. Another phoenix. Right, and so it's the cyclical nature of time being represented there. And so even the phoenix then feels the effects and ravages of time. Make glad and sorry seasons as thou fleets, and do whate'er thou wilt, swift-footed time. So, make glad and sorry seasons as thou fleets. Yeah, make good and bad seasons as thou fly, right? Fleets is fly. Right, as you go by, and do whate'er thou wilt, swift-footed time. So now we have a different perspective on time in the passage. Time is swift, fast, flying. To the wide world and all her fading sweets, but I forbid thee one more heinous crime. So do whatever thou wilt to the wide world and all her fading sweets. Saying do. What's he saying to time here?
Do whatever you must, but don't do this one thing.
All right, so you can do whatever you want, but please don't do this one thing. I forbid thee one more heinous crime. Oh, carve not with the hours my love's fair brow, nor draw no lines there with thine antique pen. So what is the heinous crime? Yeah. So all this stuff, the aging and the swift aging and the decay that he's talked about, it's like, don't do it. Don't do it here. Nor draw no lines with thine antique pen. That's just a great line. An antique pen, right? People, as they get old, they get lines. Use a pen to draw. Antique pen, an old pen, right? Time is old. Right? It's just great. It's a great image. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is a great image. Here you go. Him in thy course untainted do allow for beauty's pattern to succeeding men.
So it's a woman writing it, or it's Shakespeare?
Yeah, we could say it's from the perspective of a woman. We could say it is or from a position of friendship. I mean, the narrator or the poet voice for Shakespeare is different depending on the poem you're reading. That's one of the things that I think is really interesting about it, is if you read, say, John Donne's sonnets, I really like John Donne's sonnets. They're all from a single perspective. Shakespeare changes perspectives, which is fine. People are allowed to do that. Him in thy course untainted do allow for beauty's pattern to succeeding men. Yet do thy worst, old time. Despite thy wrong, my love shall in my verse ever live. Yeah, so again, the same idea of at least live forever in my writing, right? So we have this similar idea here, where what you write down will outlast you and outlast others. And this is why it's so important to write stuff down. Things carry on the way they go. Okay. So Sonnet 29. So this is this is called the Sonnet Project, and it's been going on for 4 or 5 years now. But it is the idea is to make short films of Shakespeare's sonnets. And it started out in New York City, it's a Sonnet Project NYC, but now it's global. There are people making them all over the place. And it's where they make a short film with one of Shakespeare's sonnets. I should share this screen with Alex so you can see it. So we're going to watch a couple of these. This is Sonnet 29. It's the first. Some of them are really good. Like, I think this one's really good, and the one for 116 is really good. Some of them are really bad. I don't really suggest it. But
What a disgrace. Good fortune in men's eyes. I all alone will weep my outcast state. Trouble death heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself, and curse my fate. Wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's heart and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contended least. Yet, in these thoughts, myself almost despising, haply I think on me, and then my state to the lark at break of day alas from sullen earth. Sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings.
So, there you have it. Okay, so, what's this poem about? Carter?
It's about the person who's writing it, and whenever he's sad and whenever he's down the most, he thinks about that whom he loves. And then because of that love, he remembered all like the great things it brought. And then he decides to change what's happening.
Okay. Lauren? Jealous of what? I can't hear you.
That another guy stole his girl.
Where do you see that?
He said he could like him the next first, and maybe somebody took his place.
Okay. Is outcast. I all alone beweep my outcast state. So when in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state. So he's talking about a certain kind of event or instance, right? What kind of event? Something happens. He's in disgrace with fortune. So he's what? Can't hear you. He's broke. He's unlucky. Nothing's going his way. So he is in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes. So he's unlucky and he has no reputation. No one likes him. I think he's a giant loser. Maybe he is. I all alone beweep my outcast state. How many people are sad that he is in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes? Just him. He's the only one that's sad. Oh, woe is me. And trouble doth heaven with my bootless cries. So he's crying out to heaven, but heaven is deaf, not listening. He has bootless cries. His cries aren't doing anything. And look upon myself and curse my fate. So what's he doing? When I look upon myself, I curse my fate. Yeah, when he thinks about his situation, I don't like this very much. Wishing me, what is the subject of wishing? I. Right, so he is wishing me like to one more rich in hope. Featured like him with friends possessed. Desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. So he is wishing he was like one more rich in hope. He's hopeless. He wishes he had friends, right? He's all alone, be weeping his outcast state. It's much easier to go through hard times if you have friends, right? Brotherhood. Desiring this man's art and that man's scope. So he's looking around and he's like, everyone else is doing really well. I'm not. This isn't fair. I wish I could have written that. I wish I could run that business venture. I wish I could have gotten that job. With what I most enjoy, contented least. This might be the saddest line in this book. What does this line mean?
They have the things that he wants the most. Like, it doesn't mean anything to them, really.
You're on the right track, Skylar.
Oh, I wasn't raising my hand.
Okay, you still have to answer the question.
Okay.
What does this line mean? Try and answer.
Okay. Maybe he wants what they have, and they don't see that. They don't see the. I'm not sure.
Warren?
I think it's that what he enjoys doing, people don't see that as enjoyment, like they don't see it.
Okay. Close. No?
What he enjoys, other people can do, but they don't. They want it not as much as he does.
On the right track. Pardon?
He sees other people with what he wants, and he knows that they have it, but they just don't care.
Okay. Interesting.
They want more.
Okay, so let's look at this line. Okay, so there are two. So it's him speaking, right? I all alone, right? So he's talking about himself, talking to himself. In these 8 lines, we see 2 first-person pronouns, right? In the second line, I all alone beweep my outcast state. So it starts. It starts close, and then he expands out, right? And he's talking about, he's looking around, he's seeing others. But then here, in this line, with what I most enjoy contented least. So he is shifting back to looking at himself, right? What I enjoy, I am contented least. So he's seeing all of this stuff and he's like, fine, whatever. I'm going to go do the thing I like to do the most to cheer me up. Right? When you're in a bad mood, when you're bummed, when we're bummed, we're sad, things aren't going our way. Are there things that we turn to, things that we enjoy doing, a hobby, activity, anything, where it's like, everything is terrible, but I know this one thing is going to go good. Do we have that? Now, what would happen if when you turn to that one thing goes good and it goes bad? Ugh. What? What?
I've been there.
We've all been there, right? The thing we most enjoy, contented least. That's why I think this is the saddest line. This is obvious. You have no place to retreat to. Yet, in these thoughts, myself almost despising. So here we have the Volta, yet. Haply I think on thee. And then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from soul and earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. So, super bummed at the bottom, But then what happens? He happens to think on his beloved. And what happens then?
His mood is taken up.
Okay, right? Jaylee? Right, he gets really happy. Lauren? Yeah. Where does his what his state? Well, so he's the start of it. He's troubling deaf heaven with his bootless cries. Now, right? He's shouting. I don't know if this movie is CP rated, and it's old, so some of you might not. I don't know. Have any of you seen Beasts of the Southern Wild? 2010 or 2009. Anyway, it's a good movie. I cannot recommend it in good faith in my capacity as a teacher here. I don't remember all of it because I haven't seen it since I was in college. Which, as we discovered in GI yesterday afternoon, was when you all were like 4. So, or in GI yesterday, we were all children. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to guess it. If you guess it, I'll tell you. But no, this is not it. But there's a part where, so the main character is this little girl. She lives with her dad in these swamps in Louisiana. And her dad is like in this state, right? He's trying to do well. He's a it's like a crawdad fisherman or something. And just things aren't working out for him. And he gets so overwhelmed. And then there's this hurricane comes through and it's wrecking stuff. And he's so angry at God and the universe, all these things. He takes a shotgun, he goes out in the storm and starts shooting it at the sky. Right? This expression of anger and desire for conflict, all of these things. And so he's troubling deaf heaven with his bootless cries, right? The storm, it's not affecting the storm. It's not doing anything. But he's doing that. Right? But then here, so he thinks on his beloved, right? Not even sees her, just thinks about her. So, and then what happens? And then my state sings hymns at heaven's gate. That's quite the shift, right? So now instead of shooting your gun up into the, trying to fight the hurricane with your shotgun, you're now singing hymns at heaven's gate. Right? Very different. Kind of a 180 shift, right? Like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth. Just a good line. Right? And not just this, for thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. What's he saying there? Jacob Bowling, what is he saying there? Thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Need a phone friend? Phone friend. Jaylee?
Remembers how the good things in life and that he has his love. Now he doesn't really care about where he is the other dudes. He has.
Okay.
I was thinking about her makes me feel so good.
right? So remember, what's the only thing that has changed for him? Yeah, he remembered her love. That's it. He's still unlucky. Everyone still everyone still has a low opinion of him. He's still not getting work. He's still not being successful. All of these things, right? His in a physical situation is unchanged. And yet, her sweet love remembered such wealth brings that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Not even currently being a recipient of her love, just remembering it in the past is so great, he would continue being unemployed and hated than be a king just to have that. That is how great her love is. Isn't that sweet? You guess? Oh, who knows? Maybe later. Maybe he's writing the sonnet to get her back. I don't know. I mean, that's a sweet sentiment. And it is true to some extent, right? When you're having a bad day, just remembering someone's kind word, someone being helpful, something like that can lift your spirits, right? Especially if you're a young man and it's a nice compliment from a young lady. So girls, you have power. You do. It is a common occurrence for a young man to remember one compliment he got. And get a lot of compliments. So you have power to lift someone's spirits. All right, let us take a break. So put on your masks, mingle, talk amongst yourselves, go to the bathroom, get some more water. Whatever you need to do. Come back, we'll talk about more sonnet.
One at a time. After the question.
She like falling from his ears. Like that movie. Wait, Mr. Vlog, you should let us like make short videos.
Can if you want.
What?
I have nothing against it.
Sure. Really?
What's the GI? Is what is in the picture wasn't working. What was in the picture wasn't working for GI.
For turn it in.
Yeah. Maybe it was right and I was just putting in the wrong thing.
I mean, what was on the board is what turn it in says it should be. I mean
I'll do it again tonight.
are you in the afternoon or morning class for great ideas?
I have a second.
So you're in the morning. So the information is on turn it in and it
Sister secret.
I just talked to Raphael.
You just talked to Raphael. Raphael, like.
I'm like,
257-97615. 257-97615.
he's in second grade.
Wrong one.
Yeah, I think that was friend. Raphael. Yeah.
Nathaniel's in my mom's class.
Yeah. Couldn't now got kicked out.
No, the stuff on turn it in is correct. So if that, just copy and paste that. If it doesn't work, then we have bigger problems.
We have to turn anything in Great Ideas class.
Not for Shia. I mean, you will eventually have a paper due, but all right.
It's not bad. It's just that market.
It's harder to get. I guess.
I can sit.
That was a good one. Solid.
Thanks. What?
It's not so good.
I mean, you can on your own. This one's really sad and cute. Oh, no, wait. No, you can watch it on your own. Okay, so 116.
Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when alteration finds. With bends, with the remover to remove. Oh, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fooled, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks. It bears it out into the edge of doom. This be error, and upon me proved. I never writ, nor no man ever loved.
I think the first one was better.
I think that guy kind of looked a bit like the guy that
We just watch them look at each other.
And then just
Have any of you heard this one before? Very popular at weddings. It's a good one. Let not the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when an alteration finds or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever. So what's he talking about here? What's the big idea? Jaylee? Strong in what way? Mm-hmm. Okay, right, he does. So one of the constant frustrations of Mrs. Smith and I is when we ask for a theme, we usually get one word. And one-word themes are very rare, if not non-existent, right? You can have a one-word topic. So what's the topic of this poem? Love. Love. So love, and then this is my trick. It's not a perfect trick, but this is my trick to identify a theme. So you take the topic, themes of poems especially, you take the topic and then you write as something. And so, topic as something is usually a pretty good theme, okay? I also suggest that you write this trick down, as it will be helpful to you later on in this course when I ask you to identify the theme of a poem or story. So, love as
was it idea as
topic. Yeah, topic as something. Now, again, this isn't a perfect trick, but it is generally very useful, at least as a starting place. So what do you think? Pardon?
love as steadfast.
Steadfast, yeah, that's good. Unchanging. So Carter and Leah, where do you see evidence for that for yours?
Right after the first quatrain, it says, "Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark.
Ah, very
It
good.
looks on tempests, never shaken."
So it's ever fixed. It's never shaken.
That part and also that says love is not love, it's all
Jacob?
Said love sometimes love is not.
Yeah. So love's not times fool. This is interesting because if we go back to Sonnet 19, right? Devouring time, swift-footed time, right? We're talking about time here and how it's this relentless scourge. You can't stop it. But here in 116, love is able to do what? Yeah, endure through time, overcome time. Love's not time's fool, the rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. So, right, the sickle, traditional imagery, Father Time holds a sickle. That's also where the Grim Reaper or personification of death gets a sickle, but cuts people down, right? That's the idea. Time will cut people down. And we see this in 19, right? Make the earth devour her own sweet brood. But here, it's a little different. So, the rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Okay, so first off, the alliteration at the end of that, it would be the 10th line, within his bending sickle's compass come. What's alliteration? Someone define alliteration. Jacob? No? Yeah, repeated initial consonant sounds. But you can also have internal alliteration, right? So the first k sound, so you have 3 k sounds there, and the first one is in the middle of sickle, right? Within his bending sickles compass come. Okay, so you have the initial sounds here, but it's started in the middle of sickle, right? Isn't that cool? Yes, it is cool. Agree with me. You have to.
No, it's not cool.
Here's a fun story. So may this serve as a warning to you all. So you know Andrew Norris, right?
Oh,
Last year he was in my literature class that was Brit Lit at the time, and he was in a class and they were being all kinds of rambunctious. So I told them that I think it was if you're not quiet, I'm gonna get if one person talks or if one person does something, I'm gonna give the entire class detention. And in the back, Andrew goes, "You're right." Did he say, "Yeah, right"? He said, "You Okay, I said something, and so I said, "Okay, everyone has detention." And immediately, poor Alyssa just about died. She's never gotten a detention. It was a very terrible thing. But let it be known that I will and have given entire class detention because one person said something stupid. So, Carter, let this be a lesson to you. The rosy lips and cheeks. Rosy lips and cheeks. Who has rosy lips and cheeks? Be more specific. Young women, right? Young women, rosy lips and cheeks. And then what happens is young women become middle-aged and elderly women.
so
Come on. You don't have to be embarrassed about this kind of stuff, even though you're all giggling like you are. They're getting older, right? So love's not time's fool. the rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. So as, right, the object of his love, his beloved, ages, is not quite as pretty as she once was as a young lady. Love's not time's fool. It's not going to be tricked by that. It is not captured by appearance. It is more than that. It is deeper than that because it does not alter when it alteration finds, right? Everyone changes as they get older. When I got married, my suit fit and it's shrunk since then. It's weird. Right? Things are odd. Love alters not. Alteration finds. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. Love is constant. True love, right? Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is constant. So then we have the couplet, probably one of the most famous of the couplets out of his, I would say love is as a constant. But steadfast and unchanging are also good. So the unchanging nature of love, the steadiness of love, the reliability of love, the constant nature of love. If this be error, right? So he is staking, if I am wrong, and upon me prove, if I'm wrong about this, I never writ. So this is his 116th sonnet. He's written a lot. So if he's wrong about this, all of his writings are worth nothing. And no man ever loved. So not just him, but everyone. Right? He's staking his reputation on it. Staking his reputation and the reputation of humanity on this fact. I never writ, or no man ever loved, right? That's a good one. Right? Questions, comments on it? On 116. That's a good one to have memorized. Oh, now we're going to end with something fun. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked, red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go, my mistress when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. So, the poet makes a variety of negative comparisons, right? My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun, or dusky or dark. Hair be wires, black wires grow on her head, right? So all of these images, so eyes like the sun, which we will see in another poem, maybe. Who wrote that one? Yeah, we will. We should anyway at the end of the semester. Lips red is coral. White skin, hairs would be compared to wires of gold. Right? All of these are traditional images, right, of superlatives that a poet would use to describe his beloved. And they were very popular at this time.
saying like he's saying like
But in this period, lighter skin or untanned skin was seen as preferable for women because it showed they did not have to go outside and work. They were wealthy. So not quite pasty. But yeah. So all of these images, right? Golden hair, white skin, red lips, bright shining eyes. Oh, my mistress is not like this. She's not like this. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. Right? Another image, roses, rosy cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. There's a poem we will read that talks about how just the way in Song of Celia by Ben Jonson, how if Celia just breathed on these roses, they would live forever. That's how sweet her breath is. And he's saying, no, that's not true. Her breath reeks. What is reeks? Smells real bad. Lingers. I love to hear her speak. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, well, I know that music hath a form of music. Rather listen to music. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. Right? So again, sweet breath, voice like an angel, or voice that's better, sweeter than any music you could ever hear. No. Does not walk like a goddess, doesn't see. She walks on the ground. She's a person, right? The way that if you look at so if you look in Italian sonnets, the elevation of the beloved to the near divine is very common, and that was carried over into English sonnets, where it's an idealized beloved, right? That's the idea. And Shakespeare here is poking fun at that because it became really, like with Dante, his idealized beloved, the idealization of Beatrice served a purpose, right? At least if we're thinking literarily, right? Because his idealization of Beatrice allowed what to happen? It got him through hell, literally. It got him through hell. The idealization of Beatrice gave him that ability. Now, that's all well and good. What was happening in Shakespeare's time was it got really cheap, really fast, really lame, and he's making fun of all of his contemporaries that are using these like stock images in their poetry. But, right, here we have where's the Volta in this poem? And yet, by heaven, I think my love is rare, as any she belied with false compare. So despite the fact that she does not live up to all of these superlative descriptions, what is still true about their love? It's still there, it's still strong, it's still great. It's still a rare love, right? So, what is Shakespeare acknowledging in this one, or the poet acknowledging in this one?
that love is more than
Right, yes. Anything else? Acknowledging, Carter.
Personality rather than looks.
Okay, maybe. You can be realistic about your partner, and that's okay. You can be realistic about, right? You all will soon be at that age where finding a spouse will become more and more pressing to you as you age and get older. You've got some time left, though. I'm not saying you got to do it right now. But what you can be doing right now, gentlemen, is starting to consider, what would you like to see in that future spouse. Because you could just wait and see and hope, hey, maybe someone will just fall in my lap. And that'll be great. Things will work out. Or you can think, what type of person do I want to be married to? What qualities do I want this person to have? How do I want them to view the world? How do I want them to think about the world, right? Because these can be some strong considerations. Because if you see the world in one way, and they see it in the totally opposite way, it's not going to go well, let's say. Okay? So, you might start thinking about that kind of stuff, right? Maybe not idealize whoever it's going to be. Maybe you can recognize your mistress's eyes will be nothing like the sun, but your love can still be rare. That's okay. All right? So, something to consider. Your homework is, if you have not yet successfully enrolled in this course on Turnitin, submitted that document, you need to do that. Other than that, there is no homework for next class. All right. Oh gosh. Okay, we need to talk to Alec right now. So if you want to wait. Do you have any questions? Everything going?
Nope.